Buck taking a hit over the weekend. Giannis Antetokounmpo going down. Take a look at that loss to Denver. Never good. 34 seconds remaining in that game due to a right calf injury. The Greek Freak underwent an MRI on Saturday and said even in himself in the postgame, I'm going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. And will keep him out until February 5th, that trade deadline. A lot of talk has been around the Greek Freak and maybe moving somewhere else. And we'll figure out time in terms of what's going to go on. But take a look at this. He said this: I'm going to work my butt off to come back. That would probably be the end of February, beginning of March. And then goes on to say, hopefully the team will be in a place that can at least make the play-in. Just take it day by day. Try to get better. Interesting words there from the Greek Freak. I want to bring in our star when it comes to Mr. Pick and Roll, Avery Johnson, tapping in from the cold. Stay warm in this segment, Coach. I'm going to send some heat your way. Obviously, the Bucks would take a hit without their star in Giannis there. You heard it from his words from saying that. But looking at the league here in terms of what he means, not just for this roster, but maybe somewhere else. How does he kind of impact that trade deadline and the draft looking ahead?
Well, he impacts it significantly, but I think for Giannis and Milwaukee Bucks, it's probably best anyway to wait until the off season to try to make a move with Giannis. And I think the main thing is to try to get him healthy. He should sit out the rest of this season. Whenever I hear a consistent calf injury, remember what happens with calf injuries. Normally that can kind of metastasize into something bigger, right? It could be an ACL, it could be an Achilles. So I think with this calf injury, the Milwaukee Bucks are going nowhere fast, right? So why even try to bring him back to make it to the play-in? When have you ever heard that from Giannis's mouth, that I just want to get back to try to get in the play-in? Even if you get in the play-in, you're not going anywhere. This team is not good enough. It has too many holes. Unfortunately, this has been a significantly underwhelming, underperforming team. The shooting has been problematic. Outside of Giannis, they really haven't had any consistent, star player, superstar play. So I think for Giannis, forget about the trade deadline. I don't think they can really get the maximum for him at the trade deadline, since he's injured and probably will not be back this season, especially with a calf injury. Remember, a lot of guys that have had calf injuries prior to a serious injury, when you look at Tyrese Halliburton, it was a calf injury. It started with Jason Tatum first. It was a calf injury. So they got to be very, very careful with his rehabilitation.
Same thing with Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. We've seen how that played out in the postseasons for them two, trying to get back in the court between 1 or 2 years. You mentioned some good things there in terms of if they are waiting to maybe the end of the season. The Bucks, as you said, they're not going anywhere anytime fast. Is this a candidate for maybe tanking or maybe just, look, we got to rebuild and maybe sell Giannis off in the future here? Because take a look at this when you talk about the draft prospects. They can rebuild if they're able to move Giannis, and options there to maybe maneuver a new star in Milwaukee.
And if you want to do it, this is the draft to do it for. When you look at those, especially the top 2 players, Peterson from Kansas and A.J. DeBanza from BYU. These guys are game changers for franchises. When you look at Nate Ament from Tennessee, I've been watching him very, very closely. He can easily move himself into the top 3. The 6'8" freshman forward from Tennessee, he put on a show the other night in Tuscaloosa versus Alabama. But this kid is really special. Kind of got that Kevin Durant in him, similar to A.J. DeBanza. So if this is the draft, man, if you want to, be in that top 3 to try to position yourself, who knows how the ping pong balls are going to fall. But remember, when we got Tim Duncan in 1997, we had the 4th worst record and ended up with the 1st pick. So you never know.
I'm going to keep you in that front office mindset and let you be a GM real quick, because we are getting close to that trade deadline. We're 10 days away. But if you're in a front office right now and you see some of these contenders that are looking for maybe best available, what are some of those names that come to mind?
Wow, when you look at some of these contenders, Ja Morant, when you look at Ja Morant, how many times have Ja Morant played in 6 straight games? So questionable there. Anthony Davis, he's basically been injured, for the last 5 years, basically. Michael Porter is the guy that I'm looking at. And if I'm somebody like Detroit, Brandon, I'm really taking a serious look at Mike Porter in terms of what do I have to give up to have him join our team. Trey Murphy is another tremendous opportunity. Maybe somebody like the Lakers. So those are the guys. If I'm the Lakers and I want to really get some more shooting into my lineup around somebody like Luka Doncic, I'm looking at Trey Murphy, and I'm definitely looking at Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. because he's won a championship with the Denver Nuggets. I don't know if the Knicks probably have to give up too much. I would not move Karl Anthony Towns. I would probably just ride it out, maybe get a supplemental piece to join my bench. But if I'm the Knicks, Detroit, Lakers, I'm looking around at a few of these guys.
I want to go names we just saw there, LaMelo Ball, because if you're Charlotte, they have pressed the reset button a number of times for the past 10 years, if we're being honest. However, if you're looking at this and maybe rebuilding again, is LaMelo one of those pieces you're willing to hit that button again?
You know, I would ride this one out.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes, I just let maturity set in. LaMelo Ball is a really special talent. And if as you're looking at this graphic, Brandon Miller, he's young. Con Knipple, this guy made a ton of threes this year, as many as any rookie in the history of the NBA. Miles Bridges is young. They have my old player, Colin Sexton, who played for me, who's basically the sixth man. So with this roster as young as they are, I don't know if I would disrupt it. I would just maybe get a year, see if they can mature a little bit more. Who knows? Maybe they can find themselves into the sixth spot next year. Another summer together. Keep the coaching staff together. Do not make a coaching change. Keep it going. And I would just give it another year of maturation. Keep them in the oven. Play together, continuity, and see what happens by this time next year's trade deadline.
All right, LaMelo, by the way, 24. If we reverse that, we get 42, and that's LeBron James out in L.A. in the year 23. But if you look at LBJ this year, it just doesn't feel right, Coach. It feels like it's slowing down a little bit based on what we've seen in the past and what he's done. Does it feel like maybe we're at the end of him at least being in the purple and gold based on what we're seeing so far?
I just think it's the end of the road for LeBron, period. You didn't get voted as a starter in the All-Star game. We'll see what happens. But what a magnificent career. If it's the end, it's okay. This guy has been phenomenal his entire career. He's taken great care of his body, all of the NBA finals and MVPs, and he's had a chance to play with his son, which was his dream. What more can you do? This team is very inconsistent. They have too many flaws defensively to consistently, win in the playoffs. But if this is the end of the road for LeBron, this is a great way to go out in terms of, overall he's healthy now. I know he missed some time early, but when you're in your 40s and you're playing in the NBA, I can't really see him playing for another team. I think it's been mission accomplished playing with his son, unless he wants to go and retire and play one more year with Cleveland. That would be the only scenario that I would see LeBron James going to play one more year with another team.
He plays them on Wednesday, and maybe once he's done with that, he can get out there and play your game of golf and shoot in the 70s like you do, of course, when it comes to...
You know what? Here in New York City, baby, you can't play in the snow. You can't find a tee box up here.
We just watching Scotty when it's come to cold weather, Coach. Appreciate it always, Mr. Pick and Roll. Avery Johnson tapping in on everything in the association and a little bit of golf there. But on Monday night, we got some action for you. Starting at 1:30 Eastern time early, Pacers and Hawks, Sixers and Hornets at 3, Magic and Cavs at 7, Lakers and Bulls, and at nightcap, Warriors and T-Wolves 9:30.